With tomorrow being the start of the legal tampering period and with NFL free agency unofficially starting tomorrow, all of the good off-ball linebackers are coming off of the board prior to free agency even starting. All of these guys from Zach Bond to Nick Bolton and now Jamien Sherwood with the Jets have re-signed with their respective teams. So what do the Denver Broncos do to fill a really big need at the off-ball linebacker position? The latest domino in that room fell just about 2 hours ago, right around the same time that it was announced that the Denver Broncos had re-signed Jarrett Stidham. That's why we didn't get this video out a little bit sooner, but it was announced that the Jets have re-signed Jamien Sherwood to a 3-year, $45 million contract. At just 25 years old, Sherwood is coming off a career-high 158 tackles last season and was voted team MVP by his teammates. I had made a Sherwood video just about an hour before the news dropped that he had re-signed with the Jets. He was my top target that was still available in the off-ball linebacking pool in free agency, and now that pool is starting to get a little bit thin. The Denver Broncos are going to be a little bit strapped for options in terms of guys that they could bring in, but there are still a couple of guys that I want to talk about in this video that could make sense in free agency at linebacker for the Broncos. I want to go ahead and bring in this article from Mike Kliss. The first little nugget of information that was dropped was that the Broncos actually had more interest in Jamien Sherwood than Nick Bolton. That makes sense to me. It lines up with what I had heard through the grapevine, and I just feel like at this point, Jamien Sherwood is a better player than Nick Bolton is. Nick Bolton is a guy who honestly has kind of lost a step athletically. I had heard that Kansas City was having some hesitancy re-signing him. That honestly now seems like a little bit of BS from Kansas City. They were just trying to throw other teams off the scent that they wanted to bring him back, but I'm still a little perplexed by that move. Zach Bond obviously re-signed in a $17 million per year deal with the Philadelphia Eagles, but there are still two names that could be intriguing here for the Broncos. Robert Spillane of the Raiders and Dre Greenlaw of the San Francisco 49ers. Let's go ahead and break down both of these players and kind of the risks and rewards of bringing in either one of them. Start off with Dre Greenlaw of the San Francisco 49ers. Obviously, he is going to be the most risky of the two because he tore his Achilles in the Super Bowl at the end of the 2023 season against Kansas City and virtually missed all of 2024. He only played in 2 games and the whole season was pretty much a loss for him. In 2023, he was a really productive player, especially in coverage. He had a 79.5 PFF coverage grade, which is the 8th best out of 49 eligible coverage linebackers that played at least 50% of team snaps in run or in coverage. Then in run defense, he had a 68.3 PFF run defense grade, a little bit worse, 39th out of 65 eligible run defending linebackers, but still serviceable nonetheless. The hope is that he can sort of recapture his 2023 form, but that's going to be no guarantee coming off of that torn Achilles. He's expected to get a 1-year deal in free agency, kind of a prove-it deal, averaging at about $6.65 million, give or take. I think that's pretty fair value for Dre Greenlaw, bringing him in, 1-year prove-it deal, just to see if maybe he can recapture some of that 2023 magic, but Robert Spillane is a guy that, just like Mike Kliss said, because of the lack of injury history, he might be a little bit more appealing to the Broncos than Dre Greenlaw. For Spillane, 29 years old, but he's kind of Alex Singleton 2.0 for me. He's a tackling machine, yes, but a lot of those tackles come beyond the line of scrimmage. I think that he's kind of that guy who struggles in coverage. He gives up a lot of tackles or gives up a lot of big plays and then gets his tackles after he's given up a big play. So I don't know, man. Not a big fan of Robert Spillane in that regard, and PFF isn't either. 48.8 PFF coverage grade, which was 41st out of 48 eligible coverage linebackers last year. That's not good, but where he does make up for it, and it is an area that I do think the Denver Broncos need some help, and that is run defense, especially from the linebacking position. They need a better run defensive production from that position. They just do. They did not have good run defense from their linebackers, especially in the playoff game against Buffalo. You think back to the Baltimore game. That was a big reason why the Denver Broncos struggled to stop the run in those games, but Robert Spillane, he was the 4th best run defender as a linebacker last year, 87.3 PFF run defense grade. So that could make sense if that's the direction the Denver Broncos want to go. He's projected to get about $10.4 million in average annual value, 2 years, $20.8 million, give or take. So overall, I do think Spillane might be a little bit more risky in that regard. So if you could get Dre Greenlaw on a 1-year prove-it deal, and he does indeed prove it, then you could be in good shape. Reports are also indicating that Alex Singleton is likely to be back on the Broncos in 2025, and they also expect Drew Sanders to take a step forward. So maybe that's also why the Denver Broncos might not prioritize linebacker as high in free agency, but if they are going to do it, I think Greenlaw or Spillane are going to be their guy. Alright guys, be sure to leave a like on this video as well, subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. I would really appreciate it, guys. Those are both free and easy ways to show your support. It helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out, and it helps us get seen by more and more members of Broncos country just like you and me. And until next time, guys, I'm your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.